Hey, what's up guys? Psynaps here. In this video, we're going to take a look at VSTs and OBS. Just a little bit of background, VSTs are essentially plugins that can enhance or add effects to your audio. You guys might have seen one of my audio tutorials that I did quite a while back on Adobe Audition and Virtual Audio Cable. This essentially replaces those things. Now you can essentially bypass the need for virtual audio cable using a USB microphone or another microphone like a condenser microphone like what I'm using right now. Now you know what VSTs are, how can you use them, and why do we need them? Let me start by telling you how I like to use VSTs. This is one of my favorite VSTs that I've had for many years. It's called Izotope Ozone, and it's a pretty well-known VST. It's not free, unfortunately, but I will give you some more information on how you can find free VSTs on the internet that you can download for OBS. There are a ton of them, but just to knock your socks off with some awesome visuals, check this out. So here's how I get to my VST. I go to the microphone audio source here, and I click on that cogwheel and I select filters. And here I can add the VSTs. You can see I've got Ozone already added. Before I show you exactly how I do it, I just want to let you know why you might want to do something like this. One of the number one concerns that I get from streamers is how do you deal with background noise and how do you get your audio levels just right? I gotta say that it's not easy because every microphone and every audio setup and every voice seems to have its own characteristics. So what I like to do is turn the gain on my microphone down a little bit, and then I make up the difference in the VST. And some might argue they're even a little too high here, so there's a lot of loudness going on, which I think is fitting sometimes during the live stream. There may be lots of other sounds going on, like background music and game sounds and other voices in Discord or the Twitch app. Every stream is going to have a different audio goal, right? So you may not want to be as loud as this, or you might even want to be louder. The first thing that you're going to want to do before you install any VSTs, just as a precaution, go into your program files and make sure you have a folder called VST Plugins. The reason that I'm telling you this is because there are some situations where VSTs may be installed in non-default folders. It's causing OBS users a lot of grief, and this is going to eliminate some troubleshooting. OBS is going to be looking for that folder, so any VSTs that we put in that folder, OBS should be able to recognize. Now there's one other important distinction that we should make here, 32-bit versus 64-bit. Some people prefer to use 32-bit OBS while others found 64-bit performs better. And it seems to be split 50-50. So just keep in mind that you have some options here. I prefer to use 32-bit OBS because it's compatible with VLC and I can play videos and do overlays with VLC, and in my opinion, I don't really see too much performance difference between 32 and 64. However, other people have mentioned they think 64-bit works a little bit better. So this is going to be important because there are 32-bit and 64-bit VSTs. I think it would really help if we're consistent throughout the entire process. So I'm using a 32-bit OBS with 32-bit VSTs. Now, if you want to hit the ground running, let me show you where you can find some free VSTs. And keep in mind that you can search on Google for free VSTs and you're going to find all kinds of VSTs. Let me show you some free VSTs that seem to be getting some pretty good reviews by other streamers. Let's take a look. This is the Reaper website, and Reaper is software that a lot of people have been using along with virtual audio cable to route their microphone audio through VSTs and other processing, much like I demonstrated with Adobe Audition in my previous Adobe Audition tutorial. But Reaper also has a nice collection of VSTs. I'll put that information and the link down in the description. Check this out and also explore the internet for some other tutorials specifically about how to configure these Reaper plugins. I'm not going to show you too much about how to configure the Reaper plugins. I just want to make sure you know where to get them. Here's a 32-bit version as well as a 64-bit version. You may as well download both of them. And a huge concern for streaming, like I mentioned, is background noise. And the other one is audio levels. Audio levels during a live stream can be variable, right? There might be calm times during the stream where you're talking in a calm voice and you're just having a discussion with the chat. There may be other times in the stream that are very exciting where you are talking a little bit louder and your volume might actually change. Something exciting is happening and you shout into the microphone, right? Or maybe you're just talking really close to the mic and you're getting a lot of loud sounds going into the microphone. So you want a system that is not going to peak when you're yelling into your mic, and you want a system that's going to be able to pick up your voice when you're talking normally. I think that's pretty clear, right? And I think that's where the compressor comes in. One of the things you could do with the compressor is you can inhibit, essentially, or attenuate some of those louder sounds, and you can boost some of those lower sounds. There are a ton of compressor plugins out there, and the plugin that I'm using, Izotope Ozone, does have a compressor in it, and it's got a multi-band compressor, in fact. It gives you a tremendous amount of control over different frequency bins, so you can compress them differently. Adobe Audition was also like that in that previous tutorial that I did, where I used Adobe Audition's multi-band compressor. You don't have to go full radio mode if you don't want to. You can also use a compressor to make your voice sound natural. Looking at the Reaper plugins, this one right here is a basic compressor plugin, and it looks like they've also got a multi-band, or what they call unlimited band compressor here, where you can kind of bend the frequencies. So you're definitely going to want to take a look at those. And another one that's really popular to look at is your EQ. Also, keep in mind, every microphone and every voice is a little bit different. So one preset that works for one person might be a little bit different for another person. And I really encourage you guys to take a look at the EQ and play with it a little bit and listen to it and try to get it sounding how you expect your voice to sound. This one is pretty cool. I didn't realize that Reaper had this one in it, an FFT-based dynamics processor. So you'll have to look up you'll have to take a look at a tutorial on exactly how to reduce background noise and how to use this as a gate so that you can eliminate and cut off that background noise. One of the biggest concerns that streamers have is background noise. For example, there may be fans running in the background, or you guys might have like a supercomputer or multiple supercomputers running and the fans are getting louder because you're playing games and you're streaming and, you know, everything's happening. So, you know, your computer goes into like, you know, super jet engine mode. It's happened to me many times. Or you might have fans in your room because sometimes the streaming room gets hot with the lights and the monitors and the equipment. Keyboard noise. As a competitive gamer, you might be hammer smashing your keyboard and all that keyboard noise is getting into the microphone and going out into the stream. Keyboard noise is very wide spectrum and it's very loud. So you are less likely to eliminate all of that. You're more likely to get rid of the fan noise using your gate. Now, if you still want to get rid of your keyboard noise, I hate to break it to you, but one of the best ways to do that is to get a quieter keyboard or to get some quieter keypads for your keyboard. There's no magic bullet, it seems, to fix keyboard noise. You're just going to have to use a combination of an audio gate and a quieter keyboard. But I got to say that I've had a lot of success in the past creating a gate using a dynamics processor. So let me know in the comments which VSTs you're using and how you like to use them. I'm very curious to see what you guys are going to do with this. I just like to play with these things, and I like to mess with the levels and see how I can change the levels and stuff like that. So if you like to tinker with these kinds of things, you're going to enjoy it. Or if you don't like to tinker, you just want your audio to sound right and you want to increase the quality of your stream, VSTs are going to be for you. All right. The Reaper plugins are just one example of free VSTs that are out there. A lot of other streamers are using the Reaper VSTs and seem to be enjoying them. So you're going to find guides out there on how to use those. I didn't want to go into the whole guide on these because there's so many out there. But if you want me to do a guide on the Reaper plugins, I would be happy to do that. Now, with your downloaded VSTs, you're going to install them and make sure that you can see the VSTs located in this plugins folder. Your VSTs will typically be a .dll. To apply the VSTs to your microphone, you're going to take a look at your microphone source, click on the cogwheel, then click on filters, and you're going to click on the plus button here, and you're going to go to VST plugin. When you click on that, it's going to ask you to specify a name for the filter. Maybe Reaper, or you don't have to name it anything. You can keep the default name. Then you can select which one you want to use. The one that I'm using is kind of an all-in-one VST. So all of the effects, the gate and the equalizer, they're all together in this one interface that I showed you. However, you can create what many people call a rack of effects. And what that means is you can add multiple VSTs and you can order them. You can put them in different orders to create a different effect. I'll have the dynamics processor, or the gate rather, then I'll have the equalizer, then I'll have the compressor, and then I'll have the hard limiter, the brick wall limiter essentially. Let me show you once again the VSTs that I'm using. Now, one thing about audio software, there's a lot of it out there. Anywhere from the free ones like I just showed you to more advanced premium ones. They can be quite expensive, but they're also quite powerful. This is an older version that I'm using. I think their newest version is like Ozone 7. So what I'm doing here is I'm just very slightly boosting the lows and the highs here. And sometimes when you boost the lows, you got to be careful because you're going to get a lot of bass coming through your microphone. I'm using the AT2020, which is kind of bright. So I find that adding a little bit of bass is okay, but sometimes, you know, it can be too much. If you add a little bit to the highs, you know, the sound comes out a little brighter and a little more energetic. You guys are very patient. You can play with the equalizer a little bit and get it sounding even certainly better than how I have mine set here. And taking a look at the dynamics, I have 3 different bands. You know, there's thresholds that are set here. When the voice reaches that threshold, then it's getting compressed. And if you've never done a compressor before, these terms are going to sound foreign to you, but the ratio is basically how much compression is going to be applied or how much gain reduction is going to be applied. The attack is how soon or how quickly the effect is applied. So you want to catch it real fast. I set mine to 10 milliseconds. So there's some variation there, and those of you guys that are more familiar with how attack and release works, you might think of some different timing that you want to try for whatever sound you're producing, right? But an attack of 10 and release of 100 seems to work pretty well. I've used those values for a long time. They've also been suggested by others. So there's also a little bit of a gate here as well. And so when the voice is below a certain threshold, then a gate is applied. So that kind of rounds out the sounds quite nicely. The dynamics processor has a limiter up here. So you can apply a more aggressive compression if you get up that high to those levels. But I don't think we're going to be getting that high. I'm really maximizing a lot here. And the maximizer is another limiter. You know, I really wanted to turn down the gain of my microphone and then make up for some of the gain in the audio processor. And that's what I've done here with a final limiting. And I set a really hard limit. I find that this is live audio, and some of the other modes were not handling live as well, I felt. I set that hard limiter at -2.5. If you want your voice to be really super loud, you know, you can just open it up and just let all the audio through there. That might be kind of annoying, but you know, you have that power and you can do that. I set mine down so that it's not all the way, so there's a little bit of headroom, but there's really not much headroom left there. And here, the -6 part, this is a little extra gain. Whether I'm talking very close to the microphone like I am now, or maybe I'm leaning back in my chair and I'm a little further away from the microphone, that audio is going to come through and the viewers are going to hear it. I really like this VST, and I realize that not everybody is going to have access to Izotope Ozone. So if you don't have access to it, then don't sweat it. There are the free ones out there that do work. You're going to be able to do at least the basics with some of those free compressors, and you're definitely going to get your voice to sound how it should coming out to your viewers on the live stream. In my stream, I have a number of audio engineers and a number of professionals, people who have done radio or worked in studios, and I find that there's a lot more agreement on these audio ideas than there is a disagreement. So definitely do some research, talk to some professionals. I always invite you guys to come by to the stream and hang out with us. During some of the discussions that we have, one thing that we definitely agree on in the stream is that the standard for audio quality on the internet is not all that great all the time. And sometimes the audio is really, really good, and other times it's really, really bad. I think at the end of the day, it's really about the quality of the content rather than the quality of the video and the audio, to be completely honest. But it's nice to have high quality video and audio. There's a lot of people that have nice gaming headsets. There are a number of individuals that can hear the difference between bad audio and good audio. You can take a step forward and improve the quality of your stream. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and let me know what you think in the comments. Good luck and have fun.